Right now, thousands of 2021 Ford F-150 owners are sitting on a truck that's quietly bleeding resale value, and most of them have no idea it's happening. We're not talking about a few $100s here. We're talking about up to $9,000, gone, wiped out, before you even step foot inside a dealership. And the worst part? The damage is already done for some of you watching this right now. If you own a 2021 F-150 or you're thinking about buying one, do not skip this video. What you're about to hear could save you thousands. The 2021 was dreamed be a 2021 Ford F-150 was supposed to be a triumph. Ford redesigned it from the ground up. New platform, new power boost hybrid powertrain, brand new Pro Power onboard generator system. It was supposed to be the most advanced half-ton truck ever built. And for a while, it looked like Ford pulled it off. The truck sold in massive numbers. Buyers were excited. Reviews were positive. But here's the scary part. While everyone was celebrating, a set of serious mechanical, software, and reliability issues were quietly building under the surface, issues that took a year or two to fully show up. And now that they've shown up, they're doing something brutal to resale value. Because here's what buyers at dealerships and private sales know that most F-150 owners don't. Resale value doesn't just follow mileage. It follows reputation. And the reputation of the 2021 F-150, specifically the Power Boost Hybrid, the 3.5 EcoBoost, and the 2.7 EcoBoost, has taken a serious hit in the used truck market. Right now, a well-maintained 2021 F-150 XLT with the 3.5 EcoBoost that should be worth around $38,000 to $40,000 on the private market is selling closer to $31,000 or $32,000 in many parts of the country. That's not depreciation. That's fear. Let's start with the issue that is causing the single biggest resale damage to 2021 F-150s right now, the Power Boost hybrid system. Ford marketed this as a revolutionary feature, a 35-kilowatt hybrid motor integrated into the 10-speed transmission, capable of boosting fuel economy and generating up to 7.2 kilowatts of exportable power. It sounded amazing on paper, but here's what the dealerships don't want to talk about. The lithium-ion battery pack inside the Power Boost system is showing premature degradation in real-world conditions. Owners are reporting that after just 2 to 3 years, the hybrid battery is no longer holding its charge efficiently. Fuel economy has dropped, the system is throwing warning lights, and some owners are getting the dreaded hybrid system fault message. And this is where most owners get trapped. Because a hybrid battery replacement for the 2021 F-150 Power Boost isn't like replacing a regular car battery. This is a $4,000 to $6,500 repair at a Ford dealership. Some owners out of warranty have been quoted even higher. Now think about what happens when you try to sell a truck with a flagged hybrid system. Buyers walk away, or they offer you a lowball number and use that battery issue as a hammer to knock another $3,000 off your asking price. And if the buyer brings a pre-purchase inspection, which any smart buyer will, that battery issue shows up immediately. What started as a $40,000 truck just became a $33,000 truck overnight. Wait, it gets worse. Because the Power Boost battery isn't even the most common problem destroying resale value on the 2021 F-150. That title goes to something quieter, something that takes longer to show up, something that you might not even know is happening inside your engine right now. Carbon buildup. This is one of the most misunderstood and under-discussed issues in the entire truck market, and it's destroying the long-term value of EcoBoost engines across the board. Here's how it works, and pay attention. This next part is what destroys EcoBoost engines completely. In a traditional port-injected engine, fuel is sprayed directly onto the intake valves on every cycle. That fuel acts as a solvent. It constantly washes the back of the valves clean. The EcoBoost uses direct injection. Fuel goes straight into the cylinder, bypassing the intake valves entirely. And here's the problem. Engine oil vapor from the PCV system still gets recirculated through the intake. Without fuel washing those valves, that vapor bakes onto the back of the intake valves and hardens into thick carbon deposits. This process happens in every direct injection engine. But what makes the 2021 F-150 EcoBoost more vulnerable is the aggressive tune Ford uses to maximize power output. Higher combustion temperatures, more aggressive timing. All of that accelerates the carbon deposit formation. By 40,000 to 60,000 miles, many 2021 F-150s are already seeing significant carbon buildup. And what does carbon buildup actually do to your truck? It reduces airflow into the combustion chamber. It creates misfires. It causes rough idle. It reduces fuel economy. It triggers check engine lights. And in severe cases, it causes complete loss of power under load, which means your truck can't tow properly, can't accelerate on the highway, and feels like it has half the engine it's supposed to. The fix? Walnut blasting, a professional cleaning procedure where technicians blast the intake manifold and valves with crushed walnut shells. Effective, necessary, and in a shop? Between $500 and $900. But here's the real financial gut punch. If you don't do this service and your truck develops carbon-related misfires before you sell, buyers will use that check engine light as an $8,000 mistake sign on your windshield. They'll assume the worst. They'll lowball you or walk away entirely. The guys who keep up with this service, they protect their resale. The guys who ignore it, they find out at trade-in time, and by then, it's too late. If you want to stick around for insider information that the dealerships genuinely do not want you to know, keep watching. Because the next issue is something that's been generating Ford TSBs, technical service bulletins, and owner complaints for 2 years straight. The 10-speed automatic transmission shutter. The 10R80 transmission that Ford uses in the 2021 F-150 has a well-documented problem, torque converter shutter. It typically shows up between 40 and 70 miles per hour during light throttle, and it feels like you're driving over a rumble strip when the road is perfectly smooth. It's subtle at first, a faint vibration, a gentle shaking at highway speeds. Most owners just think it's the road, or the tires, or wind buffeting. But here's the scary part. That shutter is the torque converter clutch slipping. And every time it slips, it's generating heat and wearing the transmission fluid. Left untreated, it accelerates the degradation of the entire transmission system. Ford issued TSB 212406 to address this issue, a software recalibration that helps reduce the shutter in many cases. But here's what Ford won't tell you in that bulletin. The software fix doesn't always work. And in some cases, the issue isn't the software at all. It's contaminated transmission fluid or a worn torque converter clutch that needs physical replacement. A torque converter replacement on the 10-speed, $2,800 to $4,200 in a shop. A full transmission rebuild if it's gone too far. You're looking at $5,000 to $7,500. And when a buyer test drives your 2021 F-150 and feels that highway shutter, that test drive is over. The negotiation is over. They're either walking away or dropping their offer by $4,000 to $5,000 right on the spot. This is where most owners get trapped. They don't know the shutter is happening because they've gotten used to it. They mistake it for normal, and they put their truck on the market without addressing it, and then wonder why buyers aren't biting at their asking price. Most 2021 F-150 owners who bought the Pro Power onboard system loved the idea of it. Built-in generator. Power at the job site or campsite without a separate generator. But almost nobody catches this in time. The Pro Power onboard system, especially when used regularly, creates a parasitic drain pattern on the 12-volt auxiliary battery that feeds the system. Ford designed this setup to lean on a standard Group 65 battery in a demanding role, and real-world use is exposing the weakness. When the auxiliary battery starts to fail, which is happening in high-use 2021 F-150s as early as 2.5 to 3 years in, owners start seeing a cascade of electronic warnings, sync system resets, Pro Power onboard faults, lane keeping assist errors, adaptive cruise control going offline, Ford Copilot 360 throwing errors. Now here's where this becomes a resale nightmare. When a potential buyer does a vehicle health check or a dealer trade-in inspection on your truck and they see multiple system warnings across multiple modules, they don't just price in one repair. They assume every warning is connected to a bigger electrical problem. They assume the worst, and they price the truck accordingly. A healthy auxiliary battery costs about $180 to $250 to replace yourself. But if you don't catch it and all those electronic warnings hit before a sale, buyers will discount your truck $2,000 to $3,000 based on fear alone, even if the fix is $200 in an afternoon. This is a ticking time bomb for resale value, and it's incredibly easy to defuse. You just have to know it's there. Real quick, if you're getting real value from this, go ahead and subscribe. Every week, I break down the exact mechanical and financial traps that truck owners walk into without realizing it. Information like this doesn't come from owners' manuals. It comes from dealership service bays, real-world inspections, and owners who already learned the hard way. Now let's keep going, because we've still got 3 more issues that are actively killing resale value on the 2021 F-150 right now. Here's something that almost nobody is talking about outside of dedicated F-150 forums. The 3.5-liter Power Boost hybrid variant of the 2021 F-150 has a documented coolant leak issue originating from the coolant crossover tube assembly. The crossover tube connects the engine's cooling circuits, and due to a combination of the materials Ford used and the thermal expansion cycles the power boost engine runs through, the seals on this crossover tube are failing prematurely in a number of trucks. The result? Slow coolant loss, internal or external leaks, overheating events in some severe cases. And here's why this is so dangerous for resale. Buyers and inspection mechanics look for coolant issues first, because coolant issues can indicate head gasket problems. And the moment the word overheating or coolant leak enters a pre-purchase inspection report, most buyers treat the truck as radioactive. Even if the repair is a $400 crossover tube replacement, buyers hear coolant leak and they think cracked head gasket. They think $3,500 to $6,000 in engine work. They think death rattle every time the engine runs hot. If you haven't checked your coolant level recently, do it this week. If you're seeing unexplained coolant loss, even slow loss, get it inspected before you try to sell. Fix a $400 problem before it becomes a $4,000 perception problem at trade-in time. Here's something that truck buyers in 2024 and 2025 care about more than ever before: electronics. The 2020 F-150 launched with Ford's new Sync 4 infotainment system, 12-inch touchscreen, over-the-air update capability. It was a major step forward for Ford. But here's what nobody told early adopters. Sync 4, in its launch year configuration, shipped with significant software instability, system freezes, random reboots, Apple CarPlay and Android auto-dropping connection mid-drive, voice recognition malfunctioning, navigation routing incorrectly. Ford has pushed multiple over-the-air updates since then, and the system has improved significantly. But here's the thing, not every owner has allowed or received those updates properly. And in some trucks, failed update attempts have created persistent software corruption that requires a full dealer reflash to resolve. And this is where most owners get trapped. When a buyer sits in your 2021 F-150 for a test drive and the sync screen freezes or reboots, the deal is psychologically over. Modern buyers expect modern technology to work. A frozen screen in an otherwise clean truck triggers deep uncertainty. They start questioning everything else about the truck. What they don't know, and what you need to know, is that this is a software issue, not a hardware failure. A dealer reflash typically costs $150 to $250. Sometimes it's done under warranty or as a goodwill service. But an unresolved sync glitch can knock $1,500 to $2,500 off your final sale price, just from buyer anxiety alone. Get your sync system updated and verified clean before you list the truck. This is the part of the video that I want every 2021 F-150 owner to hear clearly. None of these issues in isolation is necessarily catastrophic. A carbon buildup issue, a transmission shudder, a software glitch, a marginal hybrid battery, a slow coolant leak. Each one, on its own, is a manageable repair. But here's the scary part. When 2, 3, or 4 of these issues show up on the same truck, which happens regularly on high-mileage 2021 F-150s between 50,000 and 90,000 miles, the stacking effect on resale value is brutal and disproportionate. Here's what that looks like in real numbers. A clean, single-issue 2021 F-150 might take a $1,500 to $2,000 hit on resale from one known problem. A truck with 2 unresolved issues? Buyers discount it $3,500 to $5,000 because they assume there are more problems they can't see. A truck with 3 or more warning signs? You are now in deeply discounted territory. We're talking $7,000 to $9,000 below market value, because buyers at that point are pricing in the risk of unknown problems on top of the known ones. This is how a well-maintained truck with a few fixable issues ends up losing $9,000 in a single sale. Not because the truck is actually worth $9,000 less, but because the buyer's fear is worth $9,000 to them, and that fear is your loss. The guys who win at resale are the ones who eliminate the fear before the buyer ever shows up. Pre-purchase inspection records, documented service history, addressed TSBs, a clean sync system, a fresh transmission fluid service, a walnut blast on the intake valves, a fresh auxiliary battery. Each one of those services costs a few $100s. Together, they're worth $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in protected resale value. That is the most valuable math in truck ownership. So let's talk about what you actually do if you own a 2021 F-150. Step 1. Get a full inspection done at a Ford dealership or a trusted independent mechanic who specializes in Ford trucks. Specifically ask them to check hybrid battery state of health if you have the power boost, transmission fluid condition and converter behavior, intake valve carbon accumulation, coolant system integrity, auxiliary battery voltage and health, and any outstanding TSBs. Step 2. Pull your VIN right now and check it against the NHTSA database and Ford's official TSB list. There are multiple open TSBs on the 2021 F-150 that dealers will address for free if you're within mileage or time thresholds. You may be leaving free repairs on the table right now. Step 3. Get your sync system verified, either through a dealer or by confirming your system is on the latest available software version. This takes one afternoon and it protects thousands in buyer confidence. Step 4. Change your transmission fluid if you haven't already. The 10-speed in the 2021 F-150 is not a sealed-for-life transmission, regardless of what Ford says in the maintenance schedule. Real-world mechanics recommend a fluid change at 40,000 to 50,000 miles, especially if you tow or haul regularly. Fresh Mercon ULV fluid significantly reduces shudder in many affected trucks. Step 5. Document everything. Service records are worth real money at resale. A buyer who can see a complete, organized service history will pay more, often significantly more, than a buyer staring at a truck with no documentation and multiple warning flags. I want to be fair here, because this isn't just a story about a bad truck. The 2021 F-150 is not a bad truck. In many ways, it's genuinely impressive, especially the Power Boost's power output and towing capability. But Ford made a critical mistake with the 2021 model year. They launched too many new systems simultaneously without enough real-world validation time. A new hybrid powertrain, a new infotainment system, a new Pro-Power onboard electrical architecture, all in a truck that was also moving to a new platform with a new cab structure. That's a huge amount of change in a single model year. And the first year or two of any dramatically redesigned vehicle is always when the weak points surface. Early adopters paid the premium for the new technology. They're now paying a second price through reduced resale value as those early issues follow the trucks into the used market. This is a pattern that repeats with every automaker. But it hits harder with Ford trucks because the F-150 is the best-selling vehicle in America. There are more of these trucks on the market, which means more examples of problem units, which means buyers have more reason to be cautious, and cautious buyers pay less money, every time. Here's the bottom line. The 2021 Ford F-150 is a capable, well-equipped truck, but it came with a set of real-world vulnerabilities that are actively destroying resale value for unprepared owners right now. A degrading hybrid battery, carbon-choked EcoBoost engines, a shuddering 10-speed transmission, auxiliary battery drain cascading into electronic warnings, Sync 4 software instability, coolant crossover failures. Any one of these issues, left unaddressed, costs you money at sale time. All of them together? That's the $9,000 hole that hundreds of owners are falling into this year. The difference between the owners who lose that money and the ones who don't comes down to one thing: information. You now have it. Address the issues. Document the service. Protect the value. Because here's the truth that every experienced mechanic knows. The truck market does not forgive ignorance. It prices it. Ignore what you've heard today and you will pay for it. Simple.